Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here, Clear Lake Guide Service with a, let's call it a fishing report and just a status report and kind of an explanation of what's been going on. So, real quick explanation of what's been going on. The last report that I posted was the first week of December. I actually hadn't been on the water for a couple weeks prior to that, and I haven't been on the water since then until this last weekend. And the short story is, 5 weeks worth of radiation, some treatment before that. I still have one more procedure to go here next week, towards the end of next week. I'm taking it real easy. Don't have a lot of energy. It's been hard for me to push myself to get out. I'm back to you folks today because the weather was really good over the past week, and I was able to force myself to get out, and I actually had three pretty good days on the water over this last weekend up through yesterday, so I actually have something to report. So there's your explanation, and let's talk about conditions first. I haven't spent a whole lot of time on the upper end of the lake, but I can tell you that the wind event that we had a couple days ago pretty messed up the Lakeport shoreline. It was pretty muddied up out to almost a half a mile offshore as we had some really good east winds blowing in on it. It won't take long to clear up, it never does. Around the lake, the clearest water that I saw was actually down behind Rattlesnake Island. We could see almost 10 feet down there. So that was the clearest water I saw. Most of the water below the Narrows, you could see at least 5 feet, in some cases 6 or 7. Water temperature is held pretty steady around the lake. The warmest we saw was almost 53 behind Rattlesnake Island. Out in just the main lake over the last 4 days, it's ranged, it actually started at 49.9 and came up to 50.5, so we'll just call it that it's hanging in there at 50 degrees. Let's see what else as far as conditions. I guess that's it as far as conditions. The lake is low. We're only at 0.7 foot Rumsey. And just to give you some perspective, last year at this time we were at 3.7, and the historical average for this date is 3.7. So we are 3 feet low with no rain coming. You can kind of see Kelsey Creek behind me, and it's low, it's not running. There is some water in it, but it's definitely not running. We've got some rain towards the end of the month coming in. If it does what it's supposed to do, it'll help some, but we need a lot of rain to get back to even any kind of hope of getting to normal. Let's see. Activities. I think next Saturday is this upcoming Saturday is a new gen team tournament. Don't know where it's going out of. I can't tell you right now. And that's about it. So let's talk about fishing a little bit. Again, for those of you who are kind of new to this channel, I can only really tell you what I'm doing, or people are doing that I have a lot of confidence in, that don't blow a lot of smoke at me. So this is just my experience. I think the fishing right now is kind of typical for winter fishing on Clear Lake. I wouldn't have told you that back in December. In fact, the last report I had, I think I told you that it sucked, and that's because that's what I thought it did, is I thought it sucked. I'm going to kind of quit trying to talk like that, though. So, but I was out yesterday, Friday, and Sunday. And keep in mind, right now, my goal is just to be on the water for 3.5 to 4.5 hours. That's about all I think I can handle by the time I get the boat in the water and get it back out in the water and whatnot. I'm just trying to get my feet back under me to kind of get back into fishing shape as I finish up this, all these therapies. Yesterday, I had a a friend out, and between the two of us, in about 4 hours, we actually landed 17 fish and lost probably another 6 or 7. So conservatively, 20 fish day. Sunday, my wife and I were out. I think we ended up with 15 fish for about 3.5 hours. Friday, Jim and I were out, and we were 22, 23 fish in about the same, about 4 hours. I was able to go a little bit longer because Jim helped with running the boat. So fish size, kind of typical winter fishing, I think. Our limits weighed between 18 and 24 pounds. We didn't have any big fish. We had probably, let's see, 4 or 5 5-pound fish. Jim and I had 3 of them that one day, which really boosted up our score, but just a lot of really solid 3-pounders, just good solid fish. The fish that we found are between 18 and 25 feet for the most part, although one day we did catch fish out to about 30 feet. Not seeing a whole lot of bait anywhere that I've been anyway. All of our fish have been on bottom baits, haven't thrown any reaction baits at all, so and it's all been below the narrows. I haven't fished up on the top half of the lake yet, so, and I don't think, looking at the weather, what's coming up this coming week, I probably won't be able to get back out on the water for another 2 weeks, so there probably won't be another fishing report for another 2 weeks, and I apologize for that, but if I'm not out there, there's nothing for me to report. Catfish was kind of a fizzle, or at least I missed it. I know that there's some guys out there just kind of drifting around out around Monitor and out around Rattlesnake Island, drift fishing for catfish, and I'm assuming they're catching some. You know, we had one day back in early December where we did a little bit of spooning around Shag Rock and caught some fish, but the couple times that I've stopped over there just to take a look around, I just really haven't seen any bait and didn't see a whole lot of fish, didn't see anything that looked like it was worth stopping to fish for, so not much of a catfish report other than what I normally would expect to be happening, at least for me. Hasn't happened yet, but keep in mind, really small windows of time that I've been out, so I just can't do it all in that short period of time. Crappie fishing seems like it's a little on the weird side, and what I mean by that is the places that you would typically expect people to be crappie fishing, they're not. I just don't think the fish are there. So what you're seeing right now is you're seeing guys kind of drifting around out in open water. A lot of boats down below Rattlesnake Island catching crappie, or at least grouped up fishing for crappie. There were some in the Rattlesnake Arm on the Highway 20 side. There was a lot of boats, and that's all I'm seeing is just concentrations of boats. There's one guy who has actually kind of figured out a pretty good crappie bite. His name is Ed Legan. He's out of Clear Lake Oaks. He's a guide. If you really want to get out and do some crappie fishing, I'd contact him because he's got some new electronics on his boat, and he's crappie fishing differently than anybody else that I know of. He's moving around a lot, but he's catching as many or more fish as anybody I've seen. So, you know, typically this time of year we see a lot of people at Indian Beach, and we're not even seeing that. So it's kind of a weird winter for a lot of different reasons, but I think that's going to be my report for the day. Thanks for your patience. I will get back to a weekly routine of putting up these video reports as soon as I get back out on a weekly basis. I'll never give you a report when I haven't actually been on the water. It's just not the way I'm going to operate. So every once in a while I will drop something on my Facebook page, which is Clear Lake Guide Service, and I kind of, those of you who are just, you know, all you do is watch the YouTube channel, I apologize, because sometimes I just assume that the people who watch the YouTube channel are the same people who are looking at Facebook, and I'm slowly coming to an understanding that's not quite the case, so I have to kind of speak to two different groups at the same time. So bear with me. I'll get back to being more regular. I think my excuse is relatively decent, and I apologize for it. But I guess that's it for the day. So I'll talk to you as soon as I have something more to report. Keep those little notes coming, because I really enjoy that, and that's actually what motivated me to kind of get back out this past week. Was a couple people contacting me saying, hey, we missed the fishing report. So all right, here you go, we got out and got one, and thanks for the kick in the butt to do that. So we'll talk to you as soon as we can.